Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Live from iRacing's virtual Brands Hatch circuit, welcome sim racing fans to round number 3 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship qualifying series live on Apex Racing TV. Happy that all of you can join us here tonight for the 3rd round of the 2021 campaign to see who will be the top 18 and be considered for a World Championship license in iRacing Rallycross presented by Yokohama Tire. I'm your host Joshua Lee. Alongside with me in the commentary booth is my colleague Dane Baird with Mark Tranter down in the virtual production trailer. And Dane, starting out this season, we were at Daytona, then we went to Atlanta, southeastern United States. We go way out of left field, and now we are here at one of the only 2 European rallycross circuits on the calendar, Brands Hatch, and then we'll head to Hell Lankabanen in 1 week's time. But Brands Hatch is the newest rallycross circuit, along with the one at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. These drivers are in for a bit of challenges as this Brands Hatch circuit provides a lot of different things that these drivers have not yet seen this season and won't see for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the very few circuits, rallycross circuits, that make use of a road course, a purpose-built only road course. Most of them are on sort of ovals, on the sort of makeshift GRC old rallycross layouts. Then you've got the purpose-built rallycross circuit of Hell next week, and yeah, long Joker lap. It's actually shorter in terms of distance, but it's very bumpy and on gravel. And the regular race track that we're seeing Gillian Delormo going around now is on tarmac, and it's actually about 2 seconds quicker to go around a normal route, even though it's longer in distance. So that is something that this circuit shares only with Hell. The 2 European circuits have the long Joker. The drivers will lose time if they go through it, and all of the American rounds but they've got the shortcut that we've seen for the first two.
Grabbing a look at qualifying, familiar names up towards the top of the timing sheets, and mainly up front, Killian Delolmo looking to work his way above the top 18. He currently sits in 20th heading into this round, and Connor Parise as well, who currently sits in 3rd, as we stay on board with Jacob Ruffus as he comes across the line, trying to improve on his 2nd place time, and is not going to be able to do so. That 54.848 at the top stands for Killian Delolmo, but it won't stand for long. Vicente Salas goes up to the top of the board, 54.751, but as I was saying, Dane, Connor Parise and Killian Delolmo on the outside looking in 19th and 20th, chasing Robbie Laurel, who currently holds that top spot. Parise about 8 points back from the bubble spot of 18th. Killian Delolmo a bit further behind at around 25 points.
Yeah, a couple of the drivers in the top split not inside of that top 18 at the moment, and we've got 5 splits. We've had 5 splits for the last round as well, but 5 splits in this round. And what that means is that the drivers in 2nd, 3rd, maybe even 4th split, if they end up getting good points, say finish 1st, maybe 2nd, then they can actually leapfrog some of these drivers finishing at the lower end of the top split, which is very interesting. So you have some of the really fast guys up here. If they have a bad race, say Vicente Salas, he didn't have the greatest race last time out at Atlanta due to not actually being at home. He was out traveling. He still managed to make it to the race. But if they have a bad race, that is really, really bad for them, because they'll lose so many more points, not just the drivers in their split, but also in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th splits. I haven't actually worked out who exactly is in what split in terms of the championship standings, but definitely at least down to 4th split, we've seen drivers up in that top 18 spots already.
And we are going to have to wait and find out what happens here from the virtual brands hatch. And like you mentioned earlier, Dane, the Joker lap being a bit longer. It's not a shortcut, it's more of a long cut here. They're going to lose time. How is that going to affect the Joker lane strategy? Specifically going back to Daytona, we saw everybody saving for the last lap. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that here today.
Yeah, Daytona was a really interesting situation where we had drivers that basically every single driver would either not gain an advantage or actually get held up if they ended up taking the Joker on any lap other than the last lap. So we just see everyone go down on the last lap, which obviously isn't ideal. We want to see the Joker strategy come into effect, but yeah, here it's going to be a little bit more interesting. It's a very similar delta, slightly longer. It's 2 to 2.5 seconds you'll lose by going through the Joker, but what that means is I think drivers will start to want to take it nearer to the end of the race. But it depends. If someone's going side by side through that section of the circuit on the opening lap, then you would expect one of the driver on the right hand side, they'll be on the left hand side of our screen probably. The driver on the right hand side of the track will probably end up going down to the Joker just to avoid losing time by going side by side.
Heat number 1 ready to go. Vicente Salas starts on the pole. Bo Albert to his outside on the first row. Jacob Ruffus, Josh Edmondson, and Rasmus Tuominen round out the 5 drivers here in the heat. Top 2 automatically advance to the feature race after this 5-lap heat. Same thing in the second heat. And then in the Consolation, the 6 remaining cars will go racing, and all of them will transfer to the feature to see where they'll line up. And then we'll have all 10 registered cars here in the top split go racing in the feature for 10 laps. But we have 5 laps of racing here in heat number 1 as we get ready to go racing. Salas starting on the pole, of course, of eNASCAR fame, having a good season over there, looking to get back into the iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There is your feature race winner from 1 week ago in Atlanta, Bo Albert, looking to keep that momentum going as he works here at Brands Hatch, waiting on the final driver, Rasmus Tuominen, to work his way to the grid, and then we'll see those lights come up and go out, and then the run down into the hardest braking zone in iRacing Rallycross, turn number 1 at Brands Hatch. Hard braking all the way down from full speed, 6th gear, down into that tight right-hander, into the downhill dirt section. Here come the lights. There, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the first heat is underway here at iRacing Rallycross from Brands Hatch. Salas getting a good launch on the inside. Look at Bo Albert for Logitech Geodis Esports. He tries to go around the outside, and it works. He's is going to take the lead as they work their way through 2. Salas going to take second. Right now, it's Raffus in third. He has his SET Esports teammate, Tuomanen, sitting there in fourth. Edmondson leads the charge at the back of the field as they work their way through the dirt section and over the jump for the first time.
That was a fantastic start from Bo Albert, sweeping all the way around the outside. That is one of the very unique parts about this Brands Hatch Rallycross circuit, is that turn 1 is a heavy braking zone. We don't often see that. It's really tight, and it allows someone like Bo Albert to go all the way around the outside. Is anyone going to head down to the Joker? I think I saw Edmondson go.
At the back of the field, not going to hurt him too much. He can get it out of the way here, try and make overtakes as he works. Edmondson, known in the East short course world, trying his hand at Rallycross here. He'll be in 5th right now. There's the SET Esports duo battling for 3rd. It's Raffus versus Tuomanen here, and they can see Vicente Salas right in front of them as we go on board with Tuomanen through one of the trickiest turns in all of Rallycross. The hard right-hander downhill through a left and right, and then through this long sweeping dirt section. You can see Bo Albert getting way out of the groove, having to gather that car back. Same thing with Vicente Salas as the SET Esports cars work over the jump and into another challenging turn here at Brands Hatch. Sweeping left-hander through the dirt and spits right back out onto the Indy layout.
I think Bo Albert's just really overdriving the car at the moment, just trying not to lose the lead as Rasmus Tuomanen into the Joker, and we'll see as we ride on board just how bumpy this thing is. It is absolutely insane. You can see why it slows the drivers down. They actually have to slow down through the Joker. They could take it flat out, but they have to slow down over the bumps, because as we saw when the circuit first came out, all 3 of us in the commentary booth were in a test session with a lot of these drivers. Some of the drivers were flipping over the barriers on the outside by hitting those bumps the wrong way, so they're actually slowing down through there to try and avoid that, which makes the delta even larger.
So with Tuomanen's Joker, that means him and Edmondson both have him out of the way. Remember, it's about 2 to 2.5 seconds these drivers are going to lose when they take that Joker lane. So watch those gaps and those intervals on the timing tower. You might see them start to close on in. As Rafa sits in 3rd, will he be the next one to peek his way into the Joker lane? Yes, he does. But look at that, flying into the Joker lane goes Jacob Raffus. He gathers it up over the bumps. How much time is he going to lose here? He'll keep 3rd place for the moment. Tuomanen too far behind. So Raffus is going to stay in 3rd. He attacked that Joker lane. Now, if we are going by the same thing we have seen every single lap so far, Salas will be the next to Joker. Bo Albert going to save it for the final lap. As you can see, Vicente Salas last time by 55.01. And last time by for Bo Albert, 55.22. He is trying to chase down your race leader as Albert goes way wide through the turn.
I think he's actually trying to sneak a little bit of gravel out there. The gravel traps are actually grippier than the dirt that they've laid down for the Rallycross. So some of the drivers taking a bit of a wider line, sneaking a couple of their rear wheels onto the gravel and actually getting a better exit of the corner. Of course, you do leave the door wide open for someone like the SET Esports cars to send it up the inside as Bo Albert jokers from the lead.
A surprising choice there for Logitech Geodes Esports driver Bo Albert. He dives into the Joker. Salas is going to take the lead. Now, where is this going to put Salas when he comes into the Joker lane? Can Salas try and keep this lead? It's the white flag lap of heat number 1. Albert going to be in 2nd. Everybody now is taking the Joker except for your new race leader, Vicente Salas. You can see how much time these drivers are trying to shave off of their lap times, getting dangerously close to those barriers, clipping those turtle curbs on the inside of the turns. And here they come over the jump now. 5 drivers, all single file. Can Bo Albert reach Vicente Salas here after Salas needs to Joker on this lap? Here they come. Will he be able to do it? Salas goes into the Joker. Will he keep the lead, attacking it as he goes over the bumps? Albert going to be on the tarmac on the outside. Is it going to be enough? Drag race coming out of the Joker lane. It's Albert going to be able to slightly get over. Yes, he is. Bo Albert's going to win heat number 1 and keep his winning ways up from 1 week ago in Atlanta.
Oh, we only just got it there. You could see Salas was just about level, but then Albert had that run out of the corner. He had so much extra speed as he was going side by side with Salas there. The bumps really slowing him down, Salas. And yeah, that's what ended up giving Bo Albert the win there. So good Joker strategy. I think he was even just trying to hold off from Jakob because he was really quick through the Joker. I think that might have played a bit into Bo's strategy as well.
So Albert will get the win. Sal's going to keep that transfer spot into the feature. Everybody else will have to see where they'll line up for the feature race after the Consolation. Killian Delolmo will start on the pole here in heat number 2. Connor Parise to his outside. Luis Nunez, Tani Laudemaki, and Otto Toskanen rounds out the 5 drivers here in this heat. 1 Jim Beaver Esports car, 1 City Esports car, Logitech GLC Esports car, and then 2 Black Star Racing drivers at the tail end of the field in 4th and 5th. Lights come up for heat number 2, and just as quickly they go out, and we are racing for the second heat of the day. A great start for Delolmo on the inside. Parise trying to drag race into the braking zone. Who's gonna get it? He tries to slide around the outside, but Parise is gonna slide out. He's gonna go down to 3rd, maybe 4th. Yes, he will be in 4th as Nunez tries to attack Laudemaki. What a start for the number 10 machine. He's up to 2nd place as they go 3 wide for 3rd. Nunez is gonna take it, and Parise is around again. On contact with Otto Toskanen as they work through the corner. Down into 5th goes Connor Parise. Laudemaki to 2nd. They're still beating and banging in the back, and Nunez is around now.
Oh, and he's ended up on the inside of the corner. He'll have to turn around, and that's basically his heat race ruined. He'll go down to the back of the Consolation grid for sure. But yeah, absolute chaos in the back there with the 3 drivers. Parise into the Joker now on the first time of asking, but absolute chaos. Toskanen got into the back of Parise, who then got into the back of Nunez, or the side of Nunez, and those 3 just constantly making contact back and forth as they went over the jump, and eventually they all sorted themselves out, but Nunez was very unlucky there and ended up just missing the corner. And yeah, that's cost them about 10 seconds from the leaders, which is a huge amount of time, especially in these short 5-lap races. So he will definitely be starting the Consolation from last place unless something else happens between these drivers. But out front comfortably, it must be said, is Delolmo.
Comfortably is an understatement, as he is about 1.5 seconds, now about 1.2 back to Tani Laudemaki. And in Rallycross, anything over a second is a pretty big gap, as we see Laudemaki is going to joker this time. Attacks the entry, attacks the middle. We'll see how good of a run he gets heading his way to the start-finish line, but that will keep him in 2nd place. Here comes his Black Star Racing teammate, Otto Toskanen. He is not going to catch him, so that means Toskanen is going to keep that 3rd spot. Laudemaki going to keep 2nd, as Toskanen still needs to joker, and so does Delolmo, as we're on lap 3 here in this 5-lap heat race. 2 Black Star Racing drivers running 3rd and 4th on the track right now. Sorry, 2nd and 3rd. Connor Parise is in 4th, and Luis Nunez, unfortunately, can't get him in the shot. A very bad start for him, getting contact with a handful of cars and ended up spinning around right about where they are right now, and that puts him down in 5th at the start of this heat. As we go on board with Laudemaki, looking back on Otto Toskanen. Will Toskanen come into the Joker lane this time? They work their way through the corner, leading up to the Joker. There he goes. He's going to dive on in. Will Parise be able to make a pass on Toskanen? It looks like he is going to be able to. Parise is going to go up to 3rd. Can Toskanen rally back? No, he can. He'll have to try and pass him on track with no Joker lane available to him now, as Otto Toskanen falls to 4th. Killian Delolmo did take his Joker on that lap as well. Everybody has completed their Joker with 2 laps to go.
Very contrasting to what we saw at Daytona a couple of weeks ago, isn't it? And Delolmo starting to maybe lose a little bit of his lead. As I say that, he gains 0.6 of a second, so he's clearly very comfortable out there in front. No pressure on him, really. He's got a very nice lead indeed. If you're coming from maybe an oval or road background and watching this, you might think, well, a second isn't exactly a very comfortable lead. But in rallycross terms, that is a mile. When you're thinking about 5-lap races, normally the drivers very, very close to one another, so having that much of a gap is very comfortable for Delolmo as he takes the white flag and starts lap 5 of 5.
White flag is out for Killian Delolmo. We mentioned him during the pre-show, outside looking in when it comes to the points. Currently sits in 20th, needs to be above the top 18 to be considered for a world championship license. And we know, Dane, Killian Delolmo wants to get back to the world championship series, trying to do that here in 2021. This heat race win is only going to help him, as he'll be starting on the outside of the front row for the feature race. And if he can put together a good 10 laps in the feature, we will undoubtedly see Killian Delolmo starting to catapult his way up into the points. Coming through the final asphalt corner, back onto the front straightaway here at the virtual Brands Hatch, and it's all Killian Delolmo out in front, started on the pole in the heat, and he's going to walk away with the heat number 2 win. Tani Maki, albeit barely at the end, going to be able to take that second transfer spot. The interval was only about 4/10 when they came across the line. And there is Luis Nunez. Unfortunately, heartbreak in this heat for Logitech G Altus Esports machine. He will be lining up on the tail end for this Consolation as we get ready to take a look at that starting grid. There's the Heat 2 results, and Delolmo and Maki will work their way to the feature. Parise, Toscan, and Nunez will head into the Consolation as they take the grid for that now. We take a look at that starting grid. It's Jacob Raffus on the pole, Connor Parise to his outside, Rasmus Tuominen, Otto Toskanen, Josh Edmondson, and Luis Nunez rounding out the 6 drivers ready to go racing here in the Consolation. Once again, only 5 laps here in this race, same distance as the heats. Every driver will transfer on to the feature, and all 10 drivers will be racing in the feature. This is just to determine where these final 6 drivers will take the grid in that feature. 3 rows at 2, all ready to go racing here from Brands Hatch. It's the Consolation. Let's see where they'll line up in the feature. 2 set Esports cars will lead him to green on that inside line, and we are underway. It's a great start for Otto Toskanen. He's going to try and overtake Connor Parise, the Jim Beaver Esports car on the outside. Not going to do so as Parise late breaks into the corner, a little bit loose. Going through the first one is Jacob Raffus. Parise makes a little bit of contact, but they single file out. Edmondson trying to fight in the back, but right now fighting for second is Parise as Toskanen goes through. Slow down for Raffus Tuominen, and he falls all the way to 6th.
I think his slowdown might be the least of his worries. He got the best getaway out of everyone, but I think he might have even just got a jump start. He went much earlier than everyone else, so no way is that confirmed, but I think he might just have one as he's door banging with Edmondson through the dirt section now onto the final couple of corners. Is anyone going to take to the Joker on the first time? Tuominen, and Edmondson follows him.
Oh, Nunez is in as well. 3 cars Joker on the first lap. All 3 of your drivers that were at the tail end of this field, Raffus, Parise, and Toskanen, stay out on the racetrack. They're still racing in the top 3 spots and racing close together, mind you, as Raffus holds the lead. Parise in second. Toskanen gonna follow through in third as they go down the hill in the dirt for the second time here on lap number 2. As Nunez, Tuominen, and Edmondson already taking to that Joker lane. They are now good for the rest of the race. They can try and race each other for those starting positions in the feature. But out front, it's Raffus, Parise, and Toskanen now trying to fight for the lead. Who's going to take to the Joker on this lap?
That's going to be really, really interesting to see. And as these drivers are holding each other up really by racing so closely, if they do start going side by side, etc., they will start holding each other up and become very much pressured by the drivers who have already taken their Jokers, such as Nunez. And I think that's what Otto Toskanen is now trying to defend against, as he's going to come up with a Joker. But Nunez, with that extra speed, will he be able to catch up before the braking zone? I think it might be very, very close here. He's going to go to the outside, they're side by side into turn number 1. Nunez trying to go all the way around the outside like Bo Albert did at the start of heat number 1, but he just can't make it work. And Toskanen with some fantastic defensive driving, but he's into the barriers on the inside, and now Tuominen is involved as well.
Tuominen trying to get that spot away from Nunez. Nunez goes all the way to the outside with a slowdown. I thought he took that corner just a little bit too close, and he did. Edmondson goes by. That puts Nunez down to 6th. This is undoubtedly the worst race of the season so far for the young Logitech G Altus Esports driver. He's able to get by Edmondson. Edmondson falls back into 6th. Nunez now up into 5th, but undoubtedly the worst event so far this season for Luis Nunez. He still has that feature race to come, but right now running in 5th here in the Consolation. We're used to seeing him running up front in the Consolation, Dane, or already being in the feature race. This is not what Luis Nunez needed, but he can still rebound in that feature as Parise takes the Joker lane. Now from second, Rafa's now the only one left to take that Joker lane here in the Consolation.
And he has quite a big margin now. We've seen he's very quick through the Joker as well, so Raffus should easily have this one in the bag. when he does eventually go to take his Joker. If I was him, I'd be taking it ASAP, as Nunez has got past Edmondson now. He's trying to get onto the back of Tuomanen. I think he will struggle to get past him though. Tuomanen, very, very quick driver in his own right. But yes, absolutely shocker from Nunez. Look at how quickly Rafa's gone through the Joker there. He's not worried about sending it over the barrier. He went full pelt through there, almost flipping the car like we see very often at Atlanta over those blue turtle curbs. He's just done the same thing just over the bumps as he takes the white flag with a very, very comfortable lead of 1.5 seconds.
Parise running in seconds, Toskinen in third. Everybody done with the Joker, so this means that on-track passes will have to be made on this last lap for anybody wanting a better spot in the feature. There's Rasmus Tuomanen also trying to fight for a little bit more spots here, as Luis Nunez trying to get back by for that 4th spot. Parise running up in second. He's another one of those drivers on the outside looking in, along with Killian Delamo, who's already into the feature race off of a Heat 2 win. He sits 19th currently in the points. Not too far off Robbie Laurel, who is that bubble driver right now. Jacob Raffas, it should be said that as he is looking to win this Consolation, and he will as he comes across the start-finish line, he is just barely above that bubble by only about 4 points, sitting in 17th right now. This is going to be a good start to the feature race for Jacob Raffas to try and put together more points here in round 3. As Raffas takes the win, we'll take a look at the results for the Consolation, and then we'll get ready to go racing in the feature race here today. It's Raffas, Parise, Toskinen, Tuomanen, Nunez, and Edmondson, and that is how they will line up in the final 6 spots here for the feature race from Brands Hatch. It's Bo Albert and Killian Delamo, your 2 heat winners on the front row. Vicente Salas and Tani Latamaki on row 2. Then Raffas, Parise, Toskinen, Tuomanen, Nunez, and Edmondson. Dane, who do you got your money on here in the feature? We could see a back-to-back from Bo Albert, but statistically we've seen a bit of a surprise winner in each of the features we've had so far this season.
The outside line heading into turn number 1 at the start of the race has been very, very strong so far this event. We saw Albert swooping around the outside in heat number 1 to take the lead. Someone tried very similarly, I think it was Parisi on Delamo, but just got his braking wrong and ended up pushing wide. But if Delamo can get a good launch, he has a very good shot of taking the lead into turn 1.
Here we go. It's feature race time from Brands Hatch. The lights go out. Let's go racing. It's a good start for Bo Albert on the inside. Delamo going to try and power around the outside into 1. Everybody hard on the brakes, but contact further back. Everybody fighting for spots. Albert goes wide. He's now up in the air as they all fight for positions. Everybody's everywhere. Parise makes contact with Raffas. Raffas into the barrier. Salas at the back of the field now. So is Parise, Albert, and everybody else now races through. It's Delamo with the lead. Nunez in second. It's Tuomanen and Latamaki now fighting for that spot. Edmondson going to go by Latamaki for 4th. And now as they work him at the front of the field, Delamo goes from 2nd to 1st. Nunez from 9th to 2nd on the first lap.
That was a dream start for Nunez. I'm surprised he never got a slowdown. He launched himself over those turtle curbs at turn 3. Albert, what a shocker of a start. He just slowed down, trying to hold up Delamo, who then got into the back of him and shoved him off to the outside. He then ended up 3 wide with a couple of other drivers. I can't remember who exactly they were, but that just ended in utter chaos for those 3 and everybody behind as well. Utter carnage at the start of the race, but that was fantastic for Delamo and Nunez especially, who managed to gain all of those positions, but they still have it all to do. As you can see, the timing screen, everybody has moved around from where they started, not a single person holding their position, but they still have a lot of racing left to do, and some of the other drivers who have gained a lot of spots due to that carnage might start to feel a little bit of pressure from the faster drivers behind. Raffas, absolutely insanely quick so far this event, winner of the Consolation. He's down at last place. Can he try and get anything from this? We'll have to wait and see, but there are still 8 laps of racing to go.
Parise right now, the only driver who has taken to the Joker lane. Everybody else staying out as Delamo leads the way. Nunez in second. Tuomanen and Edmondson, Latamaki your top 5. Waiting for a handful of them to come into the Joker as Salas sets the fastest lap of 54.297. You can see Delamo trying to maximize these lap times, trying to keep pulling away as Nunez is trying to breathe down his neck now as they work their way through the corner and back up over the jump. The lead Delamo has starting to close just a tiny bit as they run their way now through the middle sector. Who's going to come into the Joker lane here? And it looks like 2 cars out. Salas and Parise are in the pits.
There was huge contact between some drivers heading into turn 1 on the last time by, and now they're side by side. Albert on the outside surely will take to the Joker on this time, and he's going to be followed by Latimaki. Look how much airtime he just got over the jump through the Joker now, and Edmondson trying to go all the way around the outside. He will easily come out in front, but now he's under pressure from those two because they've taken their Joker, and if they're quicker, they will gain those spots. Salas and Parisi dropping down the timing tower now because they have towed back to the pits after some mega contact in turn 1 involving quite a few drivers. I'm not entirely sure who it was, but heading through turn 1 there was a fair chunk of contact there. I heard it was just off shot.
See if we can grab that replay. Don't believe...
Oh, it wasn't contact, he just blew his engine.
That is an unfortunate break for both of those drivers. Salas and Parise both showing speed here today, and not going to be good for Parise as he sits 19th in the points, going to fall further down past that bubble spot of 18th. But up in front, you can see a car coming through the Joker lane. That's Luis Nunez getting his Joker lane out of the way. He'll come out behind Rasmus Tuominen as Set Esports starting to put their way up to the front of the field as Albert going to try and get around Edmondson once again, and he does just that down into the braking zone of turn number 1, and looking to the outside, it's the number 10. That's Tani Latimaki slid through the entry at turn number 1 as he tries to work his way around Edmondson. Not going to be able to do so, but Edmondson might have taken that turn just a little bit too tight. We'll see if he has a slowdown. I don't believe he does. There's contact made between Latimaki and Edmondson.
Yeah, a little bit of banging between two of them. I'm not entirely sure what Latimaki was trying to do there. You can't really send it that far around the outside. The cutback is never really going to work for you because you've got such a tight run down into turn 2, which is the left hand. So I'm not too sure what he did there. Maybe just losing it under the brakes or something. But yeah, crucial for Albert as he makes his way up into 4th. Everybody around him has Joker already, so he doesn't have to worry about anything going on there. And that is pretty much a 4th place guarantee for him, because I think he should be able to keep Edmondson at bay, and it's a 5-second gap between himself and his teammate Nunez, who is up in 3rd at the moment. Tuominen has got past Nunez, of course, because of the Joker, and he is extending that gap. It's about 1.3 seconds now, but Nunez, of course, I'm not too sure how good he is through the Joker, but he might just have lost out on this one. We'll have to wait and see when Tuominen does go and take his Joker, but we still have 5 laps to go in this race. It's only halfway through.
Delamo and Tuominen still need to come down into the Joker lane. The two Set Esports teammates separated by about 6/10 on the track right now. As we take a look at Edmondson, still trying to hold off Latimaki, but Latimaki is so close right behind him. Everybody here has a Joker. Rafa still needs the Joker from 7th, and your top 2 still need the Joker from 1st and 2nd from 4 laps to go. As Tuominen starts to slowly reel in Delamo, Latimaki trying to reel in Edmondson. He gets so close, contact being able to be made between those two drivers, but he cannot get around him. Edmondson making that car as wide as he possibly can to keep Latimaki and Black Star Racing behind him. He wants a good finish. He wants a top 5 for Jim Beaver Esports, trying to do it here.
Basically bump drafting down the back straight, Tuominen pushing Delamo along, and what this has done, oh my
Nunez
goodness,
up to 3rd.
No, not just that, Nunez is only a second behind Delamo. Delamo hasn't taken to the Joker yet. Delamo is under serious threat. Nunez might win this race.
3 to go. Nunez has already Jokered. Tuominen has now. Nunez is catching him on track without the Joker. Delamo will need to come down sometime in the next 3 laps to take to the Joker lane. Remember, this is unlike American Rallycross courses where the Joker lane is a shortcut. Here you lose time. It is longer to take the Joker lane here at Brands Hatch. Nunez sending it in for Logitech Geovis Esports, trying to keep himself within striking distance of Delamo. When is the Set Esports number 2 going to take the Joker? Here it is. Can Nunez get by Delamo? The 2 sends it into the Joker. Nunez trying for a perfect turn on the tarmac. coming onto the front straightaway. It's going to be a drag race. Delolmo's going to keep it, but how fast is Nunez coming down into the braking zone of turn 1? 2 to go. Nunez going to peek to the outside. Is he going to be able to make a move? He slides in. He makes contact. Delolmo is into the wall. Nunez to the lead. Tuomen into second as they race through sector 1 with 2 to go.
Tuomen is up the inside and taking the lead. Nunez trying to get the switch back, but Tuomen up into the lead. More contact between the drivers now as Delolmo up the inside of Nunez. They're still side by side, heading into turn 5 now, and Nunez has overcooked it. Delolmo's back up the inside, and it's a set Esports 1-2.
Now, how much can Tuomen pull away? Delolmo sits in second. Nunez might still have a shot if he has a good final lap here for at least the second place, but he's looking in a good spot for third here, Dane.
Yep, absolutely. Nunez, he really should have come out in front. Or Delolmo should have come up behind him, but Nunez just overcooked it into turn 5, and that's what did it. He ended up losing 7/10 through that one corner. And that's why Delolmo went straight into the Joker on that lap, because he knew that was his only chance of coming out in front of Nunez in that GRTC Esports car. That was a fantastic call for Delolmo. I wonder if he's got a spotter in, because if so, the spotter's just probably saved his race. Nunez, very unfortunate stuff. You can just see he slid up the track way too much on the entry into turn 5, and that must be devastating for him. He started 9th on the grid and almost just had the win in his hands. And such a small mistake really cost him so much time, and that is why we're just seeing the number 9 car come around the final corner to win.
2 Set Esports cars at the front. It's 1-2 for Set Esports as Rasmus Tuomen takes the win in the feature from Brands Hatch. Killian Delolmo takes second, but what a recovery drive for Luis Nunez to come home in third, and a first top 5 of the season for Josh Edmondson, who is going to take his average finish of 7th and make it a little bit higher with that top 5. And what a run, an unfortunate run for Parise and Salas. They finish in the pits, but up 7 spots from where he started in 8th at the start of the feature, Dane, for Rasmus Tuomen. What a drive for the 9.
Yeah, an absolutely fantastic performance from him. He was there when it mattered. And I think we're going to see a replay now of what happened to Vicente Salas, and that's why he retired. We saw what happened to Conor Parise. What happened to Salas?
Seems like a slight catch to the wall for Salas, and an unfortunate end for Vicente Salas, and also an unfortunate end for Conor Parise as they end in the pits, and that is undoubtedly going to affect Conor Parise, who is on the outside looking in heading into this race. Salas from 11th, he might not lose out too much, but who's going to gain a lot is Rasmus Tuomen with a great win here in the top split feature race. He's going to extend from 4th place in the points when he entered here to Brands Hatch, and he might be able to take that points lead depending on what happened with Kevin Ellis Jr. in 2nd, or with Otto Toskinen, who came in the leader finishing in 8th here in the feature. We could see a difference in the top of the point standings, but down from there, Delolmo, Nunez, Albert, Edmondson, Vladimaki, Rafus, Toskinen, Salas, and Parise. The top 10 and all 10 drivers that took the green flag here in the feature in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship qualifying series presented by Yokohama Tire. And Dane, that might have been the most unexpected feature race that we have seen so far this season, because at the start of this race, we had 3 drivers in the top 3 who started, I think, in maybe the last 4 spots on the grid when they came into turn number 3. Everything happened there in turn number 1, and that led to Set Esports up front. It led to Luis Nunez up front, and then we almost saw Nunez get it very, very close, but unfortunately was just unable to get it done late there in that race. As we hop back to a replay of that start here, we can take a look at that turn 1 incident, Dane. Everybody was fighting for real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolute chaos at the start of the race. So first of all, you're going to see Albert and Delolmo on the front row going side by side. And what happens here, Albert tries to keep that tight inside line, just gets pushed a little bit wide, and that's what causes chaos there. Albert coming back into the pack 3 wide, probably didn't realize he was 3 wide, and that is how all of that chaos ended up happening. I mean, honestly, that is absolutely insane. But there were further instances of people trying to avoid that, then having terrible lines through turn 3 and ending up in even more contact, which we couldn't see from that camera angle. Nunez, I would love to get an onboard shot of Nunez through that, because that must have been a sight to behold. Let's have a look at someone further back. Here we are, we're getting an onboard shot of Nunez right up the inside, a little bit loose in the braking as well, then gets a bit of contact in front, and now he's basically 4 wide at this point, sees the carnage in front of him. Honestly, I don't know how he's managed to get through all of that. Absolute Moses moment for Luis Nunez.
Absolutely. After that, poor heat race from him, poor Consolation as well. He needed a good finish here in the feature, and it was just the seas parted for him, and it was an amazing run to the finish for Luis Nunez as he came home 3rd. But all of that carnage at the start led to a fantastic finish here as well. As we grab another look at that replay of that start, and we enter the post-race show here, Dane, and just taking a look at the points when they entered here, there is a decent amount of drivers that were on the outside looking in here in this split, and unfortunately, many of them not having the days they needed. Killian Delolmo might be able to hop up in the top 18 now, but it's going to be very tough for him, as we have Rasmus Tuominen, your feature race winner, in our interview waiting area. We'll bring him up now. Rasmus, what a feature race that was. You got out front early, and you went from 8th to 1st there in the feature. Talk about that race and having to battle your SET Esports teammate Killian Delolmo as well.
Yeah, thank you, interview team. It was again a very hectic race, and this time I wanted to be a little cautious at the start. In few other rounds I have caused a little chaos, I must say, and sorry to everyone who's been involved. And now I tried to be as cautious there, but yeah, after a few laps I started to catch Killian and Luis with driving, and in the end I saw an opportunity there from Luis. He made a not big mistake, but just a small mistake at the turn 2-3, and it gave me a position there. But it was a pretty good race, and I must say I'm pretty happy about the result.
And how much is this going to help the remainder of this season as well? Because the points have been updated. You are the points leader, and I should say by 133 points. Is this going to relieve a bit of pressure heading into these last 4 rounds? Because now that you have a good lead over at the front with with Otto Toskinen, fellow Finland driver, right behind you.
Oh, that's nice to hear. I'm not taking any pressures about the points. It goes what it goes, and I know the pace is there, and I have to do my own work and not do a lot of mistakes at the race. And now I just focused on doing 10 lap stints all the time, and I saw that help around the race. And yeah, next round is gonna be pretty hectic, I must say, again in Hell, Lonkebanen, but I'm not gonna get a whole lot of laps in, not like here also, but I think it will be an interesting race coming ahead.
Thank you so much for joining us here in the post-race show, Rasmus. Congratulations on your feature race win here from Brands Hatch.
Thank you very much.
Great to hear from the now points leader and feature race winner here from Brands Hatch, Rasmus Tuominen for SET Esports. And with those updated points, Dane, Kevin Ellis Jr. falls to 7th. Delolmo gonna move his way up into the bubble spots in 6th. Bo Albert, Luis Nunez, 3rd and 4th for Logitech G Altus Esports. Tane Latamaki stays up at the front. Alex Bergeron stays clean of the bubble line. Jacob Rothfuss extends it a little bit. Josh Edmondson with his 5th place is now up to 13th. A great run from him. Vicente Salas, even with his struggles, will stay in 15th. And then, unfortunately, Marcos Matamoros, who we know here on the broadcast, he was in our top split broadcast in week number 1. Unfortunately, now outside of the bubble in 20th. Parise falls to 21st, and a handful of other drivers, including Jarrett Liebert, falling in past the bubble spots as well. So a lot of moving around there in the spots of the top 18, but we're starting to see those drivers that are consistently fast and consistently finishing up front starting to peek their way through at the top of this point standings.
I think the point standings that we've got here are actually starting to include drop weeks, because we have just finished round 3, of course, and it looks like they're only counting 2 races. I might be wrong on that. I think you might want to go and double check that, Josh, but I think that's what's happened there, which would explain some of the drivers moving around quite a bit. Some of the drivers maybe not having the best week in one of the weeks and coming back stronger in a different week. Yeah, it's definitely shifted around a lot. I think Conor Parise is one of the only drivers from the top split not now in the top 18. So yeah, the top split driver is doing a pretty good job there at the moment. Kevin S. Jr., of course, we still haven't seen him. Thomas Rangan as well. He's in Division 2, so he's one of the lower iRated drivers in the series at the moment, and he's all the way up in 5th overall at the moment. So he's doing a fantastic job up there as well, with a good couple wins to his name. So yeah, it's really interesting to see how the points have changed after this round at Brands Hatch. That's a different circuit compared to Daytona and Atlanta.
And we're going to Hell in 1 week's time. Literally, Hell Lankabanen. We will be there in 1 week's time, virtually at least here on iRacing. But we're reaching now past the halfway point of the championship, because we go to Hell Lankabanen. Then it's only a 3-race stretch from there to Phoenix, Sonoma, and Charlotte to end out the season. So we still have a new configuration on the horizon with the finale round in Charlotte. And then we also have Sonoma and Phoenix, but we're in Hell Lankabanen in 1 week's time. We know the action at Hell Lankabanen is always exciting, but I think especially here, off the heels of another European one as well, it's going to be a fun race in 1 week's time on the 4th.
Yeah, for sure. It's Hell is a very fitting name. It was named after the nearby village, but it definitely does describe the circuit, especially on iRacing. There are some curbs that are controversial, to say the least. I think every single driver wants them removed, but of course they can't be removed. They are there, whether you like it or not. They are so much grippier than the gravel around them. Talk about the curbs to turn 3 or turn 4, depending on how you want to count corners. That you can, if you can get all 4 wheels onto them, you can almost gain a second to a second and a half compared to taking a line that doesn't touch the curb and just stays on the gravel. You can see the drivers really struggling for grip on the gravel, say into turn 5 at Brands Hatch. Very similar stuff at Hell, but getting onto that curb when it basically drives like a tarmac corner. The track limits there, not the greatest, and it allows you to cut quite a lot, but the slowdown is huge as well if you get it just a little bit too wrong. So some controversial stuff at Hell, to be honest. A lot of the drivers don't like the circuit, don't want to race it there, but it is the only purpose-built rallycross circuit that exists in the real world on iRacing. So it is a special circuit, a very fun circuit to hot lap, but maybe not to race competitively for some of the drivers. So we'll have to wait and see. It does normally give us a pretty good race. We saw quite a lot of carnage actually in the World Championship Series last season. I believe Johan Hart and Otto Taskinen coming together there, that was huge in terms of the championship. Johan almost lost the championship at Hell last season. There was only a mistake from John that ended up actually letting him take that championship in the end. He very nearly lost it at Hell. But yeah, very interesting circuit, very unique circuit, and once again we'll have the long Joker lap, which will play into the strategy of things once more.
And we hope to see you in 1 week's time when we go live from Hell Lankabanen for round number 4 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship qualifying series. Remember to give us a follow everywhere you can find Apex Racing TV, at Apex Racing TV, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and give us a follow over there. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube as well. Turn on the notifications to be notified whenever we go live here for another broadcast. And as well, follow us over on Twitch. If you follow along with our Apex Racing TV live timing, the latency over on Twitch is a little bit lower, and you can head over there and watch our broadcast there and follow along in closer to real time. From Art Tranter, Dane Baird, my name is Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for joining us for round number 3 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship qualifying series presented by Yokohama, and we'll see you in 1 week's time for the virtual Hell Lankabanen.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.